2,000 years later.
Alright, so good day guys and welcome back to my channel. This is Mark again, and today I'm just gonna share with you guys on how to do basic troubleshooting on your sound system, if you have an advanced, a basic sound setup, or basically the stock setup. And so right before we begin, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing and kindly check out my playlist.
Later.
Alright, so for today's DIY, what you just need to do or to have basically is an RCA jack which has a 3.5 mm on the other side, and two female RCA on one side, and then RCA cable with two jacks, male, and then basic Bluetooth speaker, a tablet or a basic MP3 device would be fine, and an old speaker basically.
Later.
Alright, so for this DIY, basically it's pretty easy to do. This would save you thousands and thousands of pesos and a couple of $100 or maybe $1,000 or so, just by doing this. So I do have a 3 amp setup on my Hyundai Ion, but basically you'll just do this regardless how many amplifiers you have on your system, even if you don't have any amplifiers. So now here's the scenario, okay? Let's say you have power on your head unit, and then you have power on your amplifier, but there's no sound on your speakers, okay? So first thing that you want to do is try to look for, if you have an amplifier, try to look for where is it installed, okay? Now, in order for us to figure out what the issue is, we need to know what the flow of signal on your sound system is, or what is the direction of the flow of your sound system. Okay, so first would be the signal is coming from head unit, and then if you have a stereo out, that stereo out goes to your amplifier, okay? If you don't have an amplifier, there is a separate left and right cables coming from your head unit directly to your speakers. That is if you don't have any amplifier. Now, if you don't have any amplifier, that's easier to troubleshoot. All you need to do is, if there's power on your head unit, just check the settings. If possibly it's on mute, and then check for the speakers. If possibly it has burnt voice coil, or maybe a connection is loose, or some of the wiring is, already cut or so due to wear and tear. But if there's no modification done on your audio system, then it's possible that the speaker or the head unit is busted. All right. Now, for those cars that has a sound system, so here's how you troubleshoot it. Alright, so for those cars that has basically an amplifier added to their system, if you have power on your head unit, you have power on your amplifier, you don't hear any sound, let's try to figure out first where the issue is. Check the RCA cables, okay? Now, how do we check the RCA, if the RCA is the one at fault? Now, all we need to do is using our two terminal RCA cables. I will be removing, let's say I'll be removing two of the jacks here. This is for channel 3 and 4, I believe. So I'll be removing that. and then this one. All right, so after that has been removed, I'll be putting in my RCA. All right, using my RCA cable that's colored white and red, I'll be using the female RCA jack. Put that in, connect that, and then using my input device, an MP3 input device, I'll just connect the 3.5 mm jack, and then let's try to turn on the stereo or the power. All right, so that's in. Let's try to play a random song. All right, so as you can see, there's already sound coming out. So now we figure out that our speaker is okay, but the problem is with the RCA. All right, so all you need to do now is just basically replace your RCA cable with a new one, and then you should be fine. All right, so next scenario, let's say we tried this method, but still there's no sound coming out. So all you need to do is basically test the RCA out coming from your stereo. So remember, we've removed 2 of the RCA. Okay. All we need to do is basically get the female jack that we have, and then plug in the RCA that is from your head unit to your amplifier, and then plug it to your Bluetooth speaker that has a 3.5 mm jack. Let's just switch that on. All right, and then let's turn on the power, and then switch on your head unit, and let me just look for cable. So play any random music that you want. This is just to test basically if the RCA cable from your stereo is working fine. And yes. All right, so there's, let me just switch the volume up. All right, so there's a sound coming from the Bluetooth speaker. Let me just put the mic there. Let me crank up the volume a bit. All right, so it's working, as you can see. All right, so that means that the RCA from your head unit going to your amplifier is working perfectly fine. Now, after that, so we've isolated basically the issue down to the RCA. Now, let's say still there's no sound coming out, even if you tried plugging in a new set of RCA and then the RCA from your head unit to your Bluetooth speaker, still no sound is coming out. Next would be, where's the RCA plugged into? All right. Sometimes head unit doesn't have a stereo out, so check the stereo out if it's faulty or not. Try to see if it's just a loose RCA from your stereo out from your head unit, or an accessory for the stereo out. If that's the case, all you need to do is just replace the stereo out. If the RCA jack basically to your head unit is the one that's at fault, rather than having your head unit be repaired, I would rather replace it. All right. So basically, those are the things that you just need to check on your sound system. Again, let me just describe to you what needs to be done. First is check for power, head unit, stereo. Next would be check the stereo out. You can test that if by doing pulling the jack from your amplifier, plugging it to your female jack, and then plugging the 3.5 to your Bluetooth speaker. Turn the play the music on your head unit. If there's some music coming out, then the head unit, the stereo out, and the RCA jack for the input is good. All right. Now, if after testing that, all you need to test is if the amplifier is at fault. How do you test that? Okay. All you need to do is basically put your RCA jack inside your the jack of your amplifier, and then plug in the other end on your female RCA jack, and then for this one is you will need to, or the 3.5 mm jack, plug it into a MP3 device, play a music. If it does play, then that's basically saying that the amplifier is in good condition. All right. And if there's still no music coming out of your stereo or your speaker, next thing to check is if the wiring of your speakers is okay. Check the channels. Maybe one of the terminal is loose, or one of the wire is peeled off or cut off, so double check. If all the wires going to your speakers is good, the last thing to check would be your speakers. All right, so don't look at the speakers. There's an easier way to do it using an old speaker. Basically put it on any of the channels of your amplifier. If there's music coming out, then it's possible that your speaker is the one at fault. Okay, all you need to do, again, instead of having it repaired, I would rather replace it with a new one. All right, so that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed our basic troubleshooting or DIYs for basic audio system or stock audio system. If you have any questions, comment, or suggestions, feel free to comment down below. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share, and please consider subscribing. Thank you so much for all your support, and everybody take care.